Okay, so the number one thing we've talked about then is being an example. The next thing, when it comes to character, is it's so important that we praise the good character that we see in our families. My husband used to have a saying, it was like 7 to 1. And anytime he said that to me, 7 to 1, I would think back, okay, what was I speaking to the kids just now? His whole thing was, you compliment at least 7 times to any negative comment you make to your children. So it was a 7 to 1. And I don't know if you know my family situation, but my husband actually was taken in a car accident in the year 2000. So I'm a single mom with 7 children. And I will tell you, when that accident occurred, I just felt overwhelmed at the thought of how will I ever be able to make up for what this loss was in our family. My husband was the bishop of our ward at the time of the accident. He was all about service and love, and really that is the legacy he left behind. Everyone just spoke it so freely. He just left that legacy behind. And in our home, every morning before he would leave for work, he would go to each of our children and he would say something kind to them before he walked out the door. And it would take him maybe 10 minutes of his morning, but it was something that was just powerful. I mean, he'd go to my daughter who was playing the piano and he'd just hug her and say something like, the spirit you brought in our home this morning just made our home life so wonderful this morning. Thank you for the beautiful music. But just a little comment, or I'd say to my son, that play on first base last night, wow, I'm so glad I was there. I'm so grateful that I was at the game and got to see you, play so well. So he would just acknowledge the children all the time. And it would be a personal little comment, just a quick little comment, a hug, and then he was out the door. And then another thing that he did every night before he walked into the home, he would sit in our garage, and the kids would always go, what is Dad doing out there? He wouldn't even be on the phone. He'd be sitting in his car in the garage for maybe 5 minutes. Well, after he passed away, we found in his wallet this little piece of paper, and it said, give praise, leave the office behind, make a difference in your home. I mean, just 4 little statements. And we just really believe that that's what he did. He just kind of came out of the work mode and just really focused on who he was going to be once he walked through that back door and the difference he was going to make in our lives. And honestly, I just looked at the whole deal and I thought, how am I ever going to do all that he did, and still do all that I do and be able to make this happen? And something that was very, very powerful for us is we had established a family mission statement in the year 1991. And I'm so grateful that we did that. Because I remember just a couple days following the accident, one of my younger children came to me and they were just so distraught and said, Mom, what's going to happen to our family? Really, what is going to happen to our family? We are just, they just thought everything was going to collapse and, it was just going to be terrible. And I said to the child, you know what? We have a family mission statement in place and we're just going to go on living life according to the family mission statement. We all decided what our family was going to be like. And Dad is on the other side. We're here. We're going to continue living that mission statement. And guess what? Someday we're going to be back with Dad. We're all going to be together, and it's going to be wonderful. And it's going to be wonderful along the way because we know what we're here for and what we're doing. So establishing a family mission statement, trust me, it is worth every minute you would put into that. For us, it took us 3 months to come up with ours, and we worked every Monday night and spent about 1 hour to 2 hours formulating it. And there were great experiences as we were going through it, and some really tough experiences. Like there were nights where Bill would say to the children, okay, what is it that you like about our family? And I mean, everyone is saying, oh, I like that we do this, and I like that, and they gave the whole list of everything they liked. Well, the next week it was, okay, let's talk about the things you don't like in our family. And oh my goodness, we got a longer list than the first list. It's like, I don't like it when people come into my room without knocking. I don't like it when someone's late for scripture study and we have to wait. I don't like it when breakfast isn't ready on time. I mean, that list went on and on and on. So then we talked about each point, and okay, what can we do to make things better? And we learned to be more tolerant and more loving and to set the ground rules and just try to unify our family. And I'll tell you, after we did the mission statement, it made a big difference in our home. I have to admit, it took two Monday nights for Bill and I to convince the family to put on their orderliness. Having an orderly home and work environment is the way we worded it in our mission statement. But, because the children are, oh, it doesn't matter, and we went to the scriptures and talked to them about how, the Lord has said his house is a house of order and how important that is, and we had all these discussions. But the most important thing is, at the end, everyone in the family needs to buy into it. Everyone in the family needs to say, yes, this is our family mission statement, and I will live what's in that statement. And so doing it, it's really worth taking the time to do it. Going online to stevecovey.com, he lists in his website exactly step by step how to do a family mission statement. And it's well worth it. And so for those of us who are grandparents, encouraging our children to do it in their homes, it's just worth doing. Even if you have to download how to do it and have a family home evening lesson and teach them how to do family mission statements, it's well worth it having that. Okay, so the first thing we do is example. The next thing we do is we praise one another for the good character that we have. Now, before I learned about this, these books and this program, to me, praising was if my child walks in through the back door and says, Mom, got my grades from school today, straight A's, I would have responded, great job, wow, that is so great, you deserve it. That's basically what I'd say, and I would think that would be a great response. But after I took the class and went through the character program, I learned that the most important thing is we don't praise the achievement, but you praise the character. So a better response would have been to look at those grades and say, wow, you deserve those A's. You've been so diligent in making sure all of your assignments have been in. You've been punctual to class. You've been so responsible to fulfill each of your assignments. You use the character that you're praising. You might have two children in your family. One very easily gets straight A's. The other child struggles. Maybe the IQ isn't as high. There is no way that child really will ever get straight A's. But when you think about it, everyone can be diligent. Everyone can be punctual. Everyone can be responsible. And everyone can work hard, right? So if you're praising the character, you're not making people in your family feel like they're less. You're making them feel so important because you're praising the actual character, okay? So they're really, if you'll apply that principle to just all the comments that you make, anytime, like let's say for example, your child wins the soccer championship, okay? So my response would have been, great, you guys deserved it, good job, you won, fantastic, But what's another response that you could give for a child who wins the tournament, the soccer tournament? What would be something maybe you could say instead of, great, good job?
Your team worked together.
That's right. There was unity. You worked together. What's something else we could acknowledge?
Practice diligently.
Yes, practice diligently. Right.
You were a good sport.
Fantastic. You were a good sport. Win or lose, you were a great sport. But can you see when you're praising the character, it makes them feel better about who they are. Okay? So as a parent then, it's just so important that you're constantly looking for ways that you can actually praise the character of whatever's going on in the family. And every day, trust me, there are 20 opportunities every day to praise character. Another thing that's really good to do is to look your child right in the eye and say, when you did that, what you just said, that was very compassionate. Do you realize that was compassionate when you spoke that way? And do you know how that made me feel? If you talk about your feelings and the good feelings, pretty soon children become really acquainted with how much better life is when we're speaking kindly and lovingly and there's a good feeling in the home.